everybody. Welcome to our second call of the season, and we are very happy today to have, well, I'm sorry she's off the show, but we're very happy to have with us today Madison Garton. That's Garton, and she's 25. She's on the phone with us from New York. Let's keep to our regular rules, and that would be for you guys to have one question and a follow-up, and we can start taking questions now.
And ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from Gina Scarpa from RealityWanted.com. Hi, Madison.
Hi. So you made a really bold choice to leave the show, and I actually have a lot of respect for you for that. And I was wondering if it was just because of Emily's story, or were you really feeling like this wasn't going to be the man that would be your husband?
It was definitely the Emily thing that set it off. And, had I met Brad and immediately stepping out of the limo, fallen over and my world had stopped and I knew that this was the man, then, yeah, I probably would have been in it for much more of the competition. But, by the nature of the show, I did get a little bit closer to Emily, and her story just kind of bowled me over a little bit. And, I felt like all of a sudden I was competing for something that I wasn't necessarily sure that I needed.
Right, I can understand. And then I'm also wondering what you make of the girls who think Brad's going to be their husband after the first night. What do you make of the girls that get really caught up in the whole story and the situation?
Yeah, it blows my mind. I mean, it seems like some girls are really in it to win it, and it should be The Bachelor. You should be falling in love. There's no winning The Bachelor,
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Jaw-dropping for me. I don't understand it at all. And, I think the nature of the show, yeah, you get a little bit into the competitive thing because you're taken away from everything else, and that is the main focus. So, yeah, girls start sort of strategizing and all of that, and there is a little bit, but when you kind of pull yourself back from that, all of a sudden you're like, really, what am I doing? I don't even know this guy.
Right? Well, thanks.
Your next question comes from Al Mellis from TV Grapevine.
Hi, Madison. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I got an easy question for you.
Okay.
Double-edged question. What was your best time in the house, and what was your worst time in the house?
Ooh, all right. Let's see. Best time in the house, it wasn't on camera, but it was that night that it was just the few of us girls and everybody else was out on a date. So, let's see, Emily, Megan, and a couple other girls, and they ordered in sushi for us specially, and we had a girls' night, did the whole thing, had wine, and, really got close that night. That was probably the most fun.
Cool.
Went swimming, it was, really, really nice. Kind of took you out of the whole competition for a little bit, and you got to just enjoy being there and the moment and kind of how beautiful it was and the whole experience. The worst moment was, for me, when I was sitting there and talking to Ashley on the couch, and the whole thing just kind of, it snapped, and all of a sudden I just started bawling, and I hadn't meant to. We were just sitting there having a conversation about nothing, and all of a sudden I was a wreck, and there was, I realized at that point that it was probably really time for me to go, and everything just kind of readjusted in my eyes, and, a very shaky feeling, and all of a sudden I just didn't feel right being there. That was probably the most daunting moment.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. Those were good answers. Perhaps I get back to you with another one later on.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Bye-bye.
Your next question comes from Amanda Hamilton from Examiner.com.
Hi, Madison. Thank you so much
Hi, Amanda.
for this call.
Yeah, thank you.
My first question is for you. In your exit interview, you said that you would probably wake up in the morning and regret your decision. Do you regret going on the show or leaving the show?
Not at all. The only thing I wish it had been a little bit longer that I was there, but that's probably what I would regret the most, is that, I didn't get to experience it as fully as I had wanted, but other than that, I wouldn't change a thing about it. I'm very happy with going on the show. It was such an amazing experience, and, I left when I felt I needed to. So I would not change it, although, I wish that I'd done some of the fabulous things that I could do. I wish that I really had gotten a chance to make a connection with Brad, but at the time, it just wasn't right for me.
And now, about your fangs, the vampire fangs,
Yes.
viewers were very caught off guard by it, but Brad seemed to really like it. He said he was really, enticed by it. Were you surprised that he liked it, or do you find that a lot of guys you date like it?
I get mixed reviews, and some people don't even realize that they're there. And some people do and are afraid to ask, and some people run for the hills. So, it was definitely a vote of confidence that, he was able to handle that, for sure, because that is his destiny. And if he can't swallow the things, then he was not going to be the kind of man that could probably swallow me in the whole. Reassuring that,
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Your next question comes from Jennifer Matarese from WABC TV.
Hi, Madison.
Hey, Jennifer.
So, if Brad and Emily don't end up together in the end, will you feel like you left for nothing?
That's a good question. As I've kind of said before, to me, that was the fairy tale ending. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And, I think that Emily's a very strong girl, and she will certainly make good for herself. Point be it that she's the next Bachelorette, or at any point. That's difficult. I still think that I just felt wrong being there, and it wasn't as less for her, but I didn't feel good being there, so I still think that I would.
Okay. And how did the whole vampire thing start?
For me?
Yeah.
Very, off the cuff. I'd always had, a little vampire thing, sort of into the darker side of things, and loved the mystery and the, sexiness of the whole idea. And lo and behold, I happened to run into the leader of the underground vampire world, which is actually a lot of people have mistaken that I'm a member. I am not necessarily a member. I just happen to know the leader, and then answered that there is such a thing. We became friends, and he, had the thing, Smith, and all of that, and so I had a pair made, and they were great. I wore them for Halloween once, and then, just had such a blast that I put them out on numerous occasions afterwards.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from Carrie Bell from People Magazine.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm well, Carrie. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's interesting because I wanted to touch on what you had said earlier, because to me it felt like when you left, I thought it was sort of a bold thing to do, and it seemed very, very supportive of Emily, and you could tell that you had obviously been touched by her story and gotten close, but to me it seemed like the only reason that you would be able to do that and to leave in that situation was that you weren't feeling it with Brad. Because if you had been feeling it with Brad, I think you would have had a different thought process, so I'm just wondering if you could elaborate on that a little bit. Did he seem like the person for you? Because to me it seemed like, if he seemed like the person for you, you'd be like, well, Emily's story's sad, but
here we go, girl.
Right, yeah, but it's odd.
There is that. And, Brad and I had sat down and we, talked. They didn't show a lot of it on camera. And, there was a bit of chemistry, and it was, I think that we both expressed an interest in wanting to get to know each other more, for sure. At the end of the day, I see myself being his Texas housewife. I'm not sure, so that certainly played into it a little bit. And, I think going into the whole experience, I didn't really, I didn't give enough credit to the fact that you're in it and you're fighting, other girls for a guy, and it's just never really been my style so much. There's so many men out there, and so when it comes to just, cutthroat for one guy over a bunch of girls, you know, and it's now haggling what I'm trying to say, but yeah, had I known right away that he was going to be my husband, I probably would have been in a much stronger fight for him. But I think he's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's you saying he's not a good guy. You know, I mean, I think it's just being honest. Like, you know, just because someone's a good guy doesn't mean they're right for you. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And could there have been a connection? Could we work? Could there have been something? Maybe yes. You know, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was probably not going to be his ex's housewife. And, you know,
I have a little bit of a hard time seeing you in that position, too.
Yes. Even he said he'd have a hard time bringing me home to his grandmother, so.
Obviously you see people and you got close to people like Emily, and I know last week on the call, you know, Melissa was actually said that she thought you were the best girl that she'd met in the house and really cool and stuck up for her, and, you know, is it hard to kind of watch now, I mean, knowing that obviously you were there for all the episodes that aired, but is it going to be hard to watch and see things like, you know, the girl who's sort of obsessed with him already, and, you know, some of the people that seem like maybe they're not there for the right reasons, or they're there to win, like you said, they're in it to win it kind of thing, versus people who seem like they really genuinely are ready to fall in love and become a wife, right. And, you know, that they seem much more like a genuine person.
Yeah, I mean, and it's difficult to make judgments because there is editing and all of those things. You don't really know, but it's definitely hard. And you see girls that come home from the dates and they're just, you know, they have stars in their eyes, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, my turn. You know, it's difficult, and it's difficult to see somebody that's there for the competition, or so you think. And you just have to hope that it's editing that's made them look that way, and not necessarily that they are there for the wrong reasons. Because it's really hard, and, you know, if people are there for the wrong reasons, they're crazy. If you're not really there to fall in love, then, you know, it's, yeah, you're crazy to be there.
Okay. All right, great, thanks.